On the 26th day of our trip, we'll be leaving Tulsa and headed to Hot Springs, Arkansas. We get on the toll road and head off toward Arkansas. Soon we're heading over the bridge into Arkansas at Fort Smith. We pass Deborah's Road. Then it's off through the woods and forest to Hot Springs. Soon we start to see the Ozark Mountains on the horizon. And Deborah decides to make up a new word for our travel. On twisty, curvy roads, she calls them Wervy roads. Soon we arrive in Hot Springs and head downtown to the National Bathhouse Park. The National Park is in the middle of downtown, and we'll drive along the bathhouses, which will be on our right, to see how they look before we go exploring them. Next up, we check out the B Hotel, where we're going to be staying. Might call it the Bates Hotel. Since we're early for check-in at our hotel, we decide to head down to the National Park and look around. There'll be three areas we'll explore. First, we'll look at the Bathhouse Row, starting from the south: Lamar, Buckstaff, Ozark, Quapaw, Fordyce, Maurice, Hale, and Superior. The only one that's still operating as a bathhouse is Buckstaff. Then we'll walk along the promenade behind the bathhouses and look at them, and the Cascade on the far northern end. Lastly, we'll drive up into the mountains and have the overlook of the city. This area is honeycombed with dozens of hot springs because of the geological area, and a river used to run through the middle to collect the water in what is now Central Street. Since the 1830s, it's been known that the hot springs had medicinal powers, so Hot Springs has tried to become a national health resort, starting out first with temporary structures and then Victorian homes over the springs. In the 1870s, the train came through and made it highly accessible, but they still had a problem with the stream running down through the middle of town, and it would often overflow into the bathhouses. In the early 1900s, they covered over the stream, making Central Road, and most of the bathhouses that are there today were built during this time period. And 1946 was the peak of bathing. So what would bathing be like? First, you would check in at the desk. You would find a very lavish indoor architecture, and then you would go to the disrobing rooms. If you wanted to, you could wear a bathing suit. Next, you'll take a bath, some in the public baths, but most chose to use individual tubs. Some of these had whirlpools and some do not. Many chose to drink the water also for medicinal purposes. Next, it's off to the showers. These are not normal showers, they're high-pressure showers from all sides with a tingling spray. Then maybe a steam bath to open up the pores. A wrap in towels and a cool down, and maybe even a massage. Then you're through with your bathing experience, usually about an hour or two.
It is so easy to get into hot water around here. Everywhere you look, it seems to be just boiling out of the ground. Well, I guess that is alright if you put it to good use. Now just sit back and relax and let the steam do its work.
The national park has now bought up these bathhouses, and it is a national park for us to go and see how life used to be in the olden times. We'll be starting from the south and working north. The first building we come to is the headquarters for the national park. They have some fountains here where you can feel how hot the water is, and if you'd like to, you can collect some of the water to take home and drink. The first house we'll look at was named after L.Q.C. Lamar, Secretary of the Interior under Grover Cleveland and a U.S. Supreme Court Justice. It was first built in 1888 and then remodeled extensively in 1923. It is normally the headquarters and visitor center of the Hot Springs National Park, but is currently under renovations, and we couldn't look inside. The next bathhouse we'll look at is the Buckstaff House. It has maintained its ambiance since it was opened and is currently the only operating bathhouse on the entire area. The others closed between 1962 and 1985, but you can still get a bath here if you want to. Next we'll look at the Ozark Bathhouse. This is what it looked like in 1882, and this is what it looked like in 1915. It is currently an art gallery. Next we'll look at the Quapaw Bathhouse. Its dome dominates the entire bathhouse row. It was named after an Indian tribe that visited this area and is built on the site of where two other wooden structures, the Horseshoe and the Magnesia bathhouses, were located. It was finished in its present form in 1922. Next we'll visit the Fordyce Bathhouse, which was opened in 1915 and was patterned after European bathhouses. It is currently serving as the visitor center while the Lamar Bathhouse is being renovated. The current Maurice Bathhouse was built in 1911 to replace a Victorian wooden structure. In the peak of its use, it gave 67,587 baths in 1946. The Hale Bathhouse was built and opened in 1892 and then extensively remodeled in 1939. Superior was the longest operating bathhouse, opening in 1892 and closing in 1983. And now it's time to take a walk along the Grand Promenade, here seen in red. It's a way to get out into nature for the people who are visiting the bathhouse. It starts off as a wide brick structure and then slowly narrows down to draw you more and more into nature. And there are hot springs everywhere with the steam and the cold air. Each spring has a box and meter over it that is used to measure how much water it produces, and it is rationed out. Along the walk are many springs, and you can even get to drink of the water yourself and taste what it tasted like. Then near the northern end of the promenade we come to the Cascade. It flows out of the mountain, along underneath the walkway, then over into a little pool before plunging over the waterfall. Wherever the water flows, you can see the green algae, and also, since the hot springs water carries many minerals, where it dries forms tufa or calcium carbonate deposits that are white. The water itself is almost crystal clear. Then a look back down Bathhouse Row from the north. As early as the 1840s, the bathhouses started capping the springs for their use, but the Maurice Historic Spring is left open to the air. It flows out of the cave to the right and on in through a stream to the pool. This is the cave it comes out of, and as it flows down this channel, and underneath the sidewalk and into the pool. The water in these open springs would be 134 degrees Fahrenheit or 56 degrees centigrade. Native Americans regularly use these pools for medicinal purposes, and now it's time to head to the aquarium.
What do you mean don't get so crabby? If you had to sit in here all the time you would be crabby also. And then there is eating all the leftover things that they dump in here. They think that just because I am a crab I am not a picky eater. Well, I would like some fresh fish occasionally also. So what about it? Stick a finger in the ear and I will show you what the pincer are for.
Now we're going to head up into the hills to get a view over Hot Springs and see the tower. From the observation point down below there is Hot Springs. And up and behind us, that is the observation tower. Then one more time driving along Bathhouse Road. Now it's time to head off to the B Inn, seen here on the bottom right. It's a motel surrounding an old home where the owners live, and we'll have the room on the far left end. Deborah thinks the B stands for Bates Hotel. Be careful when you take a shower, it might be the Bates Hotel. Each one of the rooms here is themed in various ways. Ours will be the literature room on the far left end. Here's our bathroom at the B Motel. And we turn around, and over here is Deborah already taking books and looking at books in our dining room. And then we go through here, and we look at our living room with TV and tables and chairs, our kitchenette with refrigerators and ovens and cabinetry, and then we go back here to the bedroom, and this is our bedroom. And now it's time to head on down the road to another good night's sleep. Goodbye, day 26. One more day left.